Hey bakers, let's make one of my favorite projects, chill pills. These are fondant topped sugar cookies sprinkled with nonpareils. I don't do flood icing. I don't have the patience for it. I totally wish I did, but I have to be real with myself. I can't handle it. And so I like to make decorated cookies just like everybody else, but usually I use a thin layer of fondant. These cookies start out with my basic sugar cookie recipe. I'll link to it in the links below. And I always roll everything out on this pastry board, this perfect pastry board. I've had this one since 2002, actually, and I know that because it was a wedding gift. And I love this thing. I give it to all sorts of other people for their bridal showers now. I roll my dough out to about 1/4 of an inch, and then I cut it out. And I actually used an O or 0 cutter that I already had from a set. I try to find different uses for my cookie cutters. I also have a brownie cutter that I've used that makes them a little bit bigger. But I try to use what I have on hand. And I put them out on a Silpat baking mat just to make sure they don't stick. You could also use parchment they're sugar cookies. They don't really even need to be on a greased baking sheet, but I really like to put them on the Silpat, and then keeps the bottoms from burning too. I didn't have a small enough circle cutter, so I got these Celebrate It from Michaels, and I cut out tiny circles. What I was looking for was this jack-o'-lantern cutter that I have that had little circles for eyes, but I cannot find it for the life of me. I must have loaned it to somebody, so I ended up with another tiny circle cutter. And then you bake these in the oven at 350 for about 10 minutes. And then you need to make the glue to glue the fondant on. I use a little bit of corn syrup and some sort of flavoring. I like almond extract or vanilla. And then you add a teeny bit of water and you stir it together until it's just a little bit loose. A little bit more easy to smooth out than plain corn syrup. I used pre-made fondant for this, and from Wilton, and the Wilton nonpareils. You're going to roll your fondant out very thin. I actually put it on a little bit of cornstarch, mostly because my rolling pin was wet. And like I said, very, very thin. If you make it too thick, you have a fondant on these cookies. I just did a really quick project with the pre-made fondant. It tastes pretty good. And then you're going to paste these on. I have the Wilton food safe paintbrushes. I dip that into the little glue that we made, and then I go through pretty quickly and put the fondant on. And you don't want to press too hard because you don't want to break your cookie, but you go on there and you can see one step I forgot to. I freeze the cookie dough for 5 minutes before I bake it, which prevents a lot of spreading, and that keeps the cookie just about the size of the cutter, so when you bake it, it's barely bigger. And then once you get all your cookies made, all the fondant on the cookies, you put the nonpareils on with a teeny bit of the glue, and I just dip the glued, I spread it on the one end, which is one of the reasons I put the mark, and then I dip it into the nonpareils, and then I'm able to put the rest of the nonpareils back in the package. And as you can see, you get these really cute little chill pills. I've put them in Ziploc bags before, the stand bags. I think they look better in that. I'm in a little mason jar. I hope you enjoyed my project. Here you can see my mason jar full of the cookies. I just printed up a quick label. Hope to see you soon, bakers.